I don't know about you, but I am starting to feel that itch. The slightest little cool breeze on the back of my neck, and I immediately start thinking about chasing these majestic white-tailed deer and making memories in the woods this season with friends. I am excited, but one of the most important things I believe we have to do is dial in our system. Check out our gear, make sure we have it ready to come efficient. Welcome to Gear Season 2024.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Revive Outdoors. As you could tell from the thumbnail, the title, the cameras that are sitting right here in front of me, we are going to be talking about Reveal's new cameras. So Tactacam has released their new cameras for this year, and I'm really excited to jump in the details with each of you. If there's anything I miss, please throw it in the comments. If there's anything you have questions about, please throw it in the comments. These cameras are great. There's no way in this episode I'm going to remember to talk about everything, but I am going to try my best. As you can see here on the tailgate, I've got a few different cameras. So I have the original Reveal X, I have the X 2.0, the 3.0, and then the Pro 3.0. So these three right here are X's. If you're in the market maybe for buying a used Tactacam, the ways that you can tell the difference in the original X and the X 2.0 is that the X 2.0 has that Reveal X on the door, and then when you're moving to the 3.0s, they look like a completely different camera. Some things that I've had issues with in the past that Tactacam has worked hard to fix is these antennas. The antennas are terrible on them for breaking. I always unscrew them when I'm transporting them. I don't leave them on because the next thing I do is I throw them in the truck or I throw them in a bag, and it messes up that antenna. So I'm glad to see with these new ones that they have made that change. They've also made some other changes, but I'm going to grab these boxes and talk through some of the details in comparison of the X 3.0 and then the Pro 3.0. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Revive Outdoors. If you're not familiar with us, we're a nonprofit based here in Alabama, and our mission is to make a positive and eternal impact through conservation. The way that we do that is we take brand new adult hunters on one-on-one mentored hunts. To date, since late 2020, when we started Revive Outdoors, we've taken 303 brand new adult hunters on one-on-one mentored hunts. Out of those hunts, we've seen 37 people come to know the Lord through salvation in Jesus Christ. And then we've also seen 97 people be referred to mental health services to take their next step towards getting help in the mental spectrum, not just the spiritual one. And we've also raised about $6,000 this past year to go to families in needs in our local community. So we're making a huge impact, and we're thankful for people like you watching today's episode and helping with that. For the companies that you see on these episodes, they play some part financially in gear, in different ways to provide for us as a nonprofit as well. So be sure to use our codes. They track those to see that you're going and buying their products from our videos, so we're super grateful for them. And then our three legacy sponsors are Spartan Forge, Buzzard Roost Saddles, and Native Sense. If you're not familiar with them, Spartan Forge is an AI-based technology. We actually use their technology in their app, so they have typical maps that you see in your other platforms, but then they also have this AI deer movement prediction that has helped us harvest a lot of our deer from this past season. We use that day in and day out as we're running these ministry hunts. In addition to that, we also have Native Sense on board. They are a deer urine-based company. I use them for a lot of my mock scrapes. They both have real deer urine and synthetic, depending on what your state allows. And then Buzzard Roost Saddles, they're saying is we ain't fancy. They're born out of the swamps of Louisiana, and they are some good guys that are making a really good quality saddle. So we're grateful for those three legacy sponsors. We thank you again for watching, and we'll get back to this episode. When looking and comparing these cameras, there's a couple of things that you want to pay attention to. One thing, it's easy, is going to be the X 3.0 and then the Pro 3.0 labeling at the top. You can see they're pretty similar in color, but you're going to notice the two differences here. The Pro 3.0 is also going to have a green top on it, but when you go to shop for these, one of the big things that I love is on the back of each of them, they have a comparison chart. So it tells you the difference between the X 3.0 and the Pro 3.0. That way you know which one that you want to buy for the benefits that what you're wanting to get out of it ultimately. But I'll just run through this comparison chart to make it simple. The only things in the difference of these is the X 3.0 compared to the X Pro 3.0 is that on the X Pro 3.0, you can request on-demand videos. So you can do on-demand video requests, and then it also has a 2-inch LCD screen. A lot of people complained on the X Pros, the original ones, was the X Pros had the screen, but it did not have the capability to connect to Wi-Fi for the aiming. The new one can do both. You can use the aiming on the screen, and you can also aim through the app. I'm a big aim through the app guy myself, and then when you make sure you're aiming, they all have that line that goes across so you can make sure that you're aiming it properly. So the X 3.0 is going to have a low glow to it when that camera is on, and then the X Pro is going to have no glow, which means it's not going to light up whatsoever. Another thing with these cameras that I'm really excited about is transitioning from what the differences are to what they are both, what they have in similarities is that you have GPS tracking in both of these. Prior, you could only get that with one versus the other. Now they both come with GPS tracking, so you can tag these in your app and know exactly where these cameras are located. Really excited about that. And then also, SD cards are optional, so it has internal storage built into it. You do not have to put an SD card in these cameras anymore. I personally cannot tell you the last time I've pulled an SD card out of any of my cameras. I probably have 4 or 5 years of pictures and videos on my SD cards that I've never taken off of there because it's just not something that I do. I use everything through the app. Yes, I've probably missed photos from the historical cameras when they didn't send you every single photo, but that's okay with me. It got me where I needed to be and it got the information I needed to get to it. But with the SD card being optional, you can still, if you're a old school person and you want the SD card, you can put that in there. Another thing with these cameras when it comes to the cell carrier is it's going to automatically switch and choose the best one for the cell service in your area. It has no dependency on who you have your cell phone through or who you have your internet through or whose car or truck you drive or what brand of truck you drive. It is all going to choose that for you within the app or within the camera. You don't have to worry about that, and it's not tied to your personal cell phone bill. Really awesome features that are built into this that I'm going to go ahead and open these up and show you some of the external features, and then we'll talk more to the internal features of like the software platform and how it's used. As I'm opening these up here, I did want to say one thing that I failed to mention that's really neat is if any firmware updates come out for these cameras, what you're going to be able to do now is Tactacam is actually going to be able to push the firmware update to the cameras automatically for you. So there's no more plugging it up to a computer and doing the whole manual firmware update process. So that's going to be really neat when it comes to updating firmware, because what they can do is they can leave the external components of the camera in place but upgrade the firmware, so there might be some new features that come out later down the road and they can quickly update those on the camera. I believe when they do those firmware updates, some things that are going to have to be in place is I think you're going to have to obviously have the camera on the plan, and then also with that firmware update, you're going to have to make sure that there's a certain percentage of the battery life when that camera checks in. I may be misspeaking on that, but from recalling from memory, I feel like I heard something along those lines when it comes to the firmware updates. But either way, we don't have to worry about doing any more manual firmware updates ourselves. Here are the cameras. You can see a side-by-side comparison of them. Very similar from the side, actually identical. You can see how the antenna seats in there to the side. From the front, the only difference is you're going to have is that door, and then also where the IR, the infrared is, you're going to have that nice little cut in on the X3 versus the Pro. And then spinning them around to this side and then to the back, they're going to be identical. Typical Tactacam, you're going to have multiple mounting points. You're going to have the strap that has the ability to go through there, and then you're going to have the ability to screw in either on the back or down at the bottom for your screw-in attachments. And then it looks like you can still put a cable lock through these holes. One thing that it is going to be different, it looks like you're going to have to remove this little rubber gasket here that holds the antenna to be able to create that hole through for your cable locks. So it looks like that takes up a portion of that. One thing that I did want you to pay attention to is this antenna. As you can see, it has the ability to flex around. A lot of people have thought for years that you have to take these antennas and you have to put them up for them to be able to get cell service. One thing I wanted to point out is you can leave these antennas in this gasket right here attached on the side of the camera, while it's in use, and it's still going to pick up cell service the same way that it would if that camera has that antenna up. But you can quickly, if you want to put it up just for a mental aspect because you feel like it's going to get better service, you can do that. Quickly flip it up, outside. You know, you have lots of different ways that you can do that antenna. Shout out to Tactacam for the improvements on that. They have also beefed up these externals as well, from what I've been told, and really came out with a really good camera. So that's the X3, and then here is the Pro 3.0, same exact thing with the antenna, with the cable lock features. So let's open them up and see what the difference is inside. Now you can see you have the 2-inch LCD screen there with your ability to adjust settings. You can aim it. There's a lot of different things that you can do with that, where the X 3.0 is going to be slightly different. It's going to just have to where you control it through the app, so it's going to have that setup and then that on, and then it's going to have your test button that you've had before on previous models. One thing I wanted to touch base on is when it comes to batteries on these. A big thing that I have started running myself are lithium cartridges. So the lithium cartridges will pay for themselves 100%. Please buy the cartridges. You will regret, once you buy them, you'll never not have them. I run them in all my cameras, but you can see I have this one. It's charged up, it's looking for service. I got to activate it so it gets service. But these lithium cartridges, how easy you can pop them in, pop them out. They've made these where they're reverse compatible, so the older cartridges can be used in the newer cameras. So it's a big, big feature that I wanted to point out because it's going to save you a ton of money when it comes to batteries, and it's going to pay for itself in no time. Be careful, there are a lot of knockoffs on these out on Amazon that people will complain about the lithium cartridges not being good, not realizing that they bought an off-brand that wasn't a Tactacam made, Tactacam branded lithium pack. So make sure that you're buying the Tactacam one. They do look very similar, very difficult to tell the difference. With these, when you plug them in, it's a USB-C. On the side, it's got a red light that lights up. When that red light goes out, you know it's charged. Very simple, very easy to use, but I get a ton of photos out of this. Have got a pretty good amount of videos, but I would suggest running a solar panel if you're gonna run it on video mode. And just know that if you are not gonna run a solar panel, then it's just gonna eat up more of that battery when you're on video versus photo. I've always been a photo guy. I love the videos, I love getting the videos, but for me, I'm just gonna probably go with the photo because I'm not gonna have to go into that area and be intrusive in that area as often by putting it on video or putting it on photo mode versus video, because it's not gonna die as quickly. But that's gonna be the externals of it. Now what we'll do is we'll get these powered on and activated for you. That way you can see how they run in the app and how they run once they're powered on. Once you are in your app, you're simply going to go to the camera and you're going to power that camera on. So you can see as it comes on here, it's going to light up. It's going to say reveal Tactacam, and then it's going to start looking at wherever the camera is pointed, and it's going to say selecting best carrier. All you do from that point is you go over here to the 3 bars in the top left and you hit add a camera. And then you're going to hit continue. Once you select your plan, you're going to select reveal 3.0 cameras, and then this barcode that's right here on the inside of this door, you're going to just simply float it over. It's going to connect to that barcode. It's going to make sure, hey, do you have batteries installed? Do you have the SD card in there? No, I don't, because it's optional. And then is the camera turned on? Yes, the camera is turned on. So let's add a camera name and then camera location, and then I'm just going to put my zip code in here and hit continue. And that camera is still saying that it's searching for GPS, it's searching for the cell provider, and then it's saying please wait while we activate your camera. It says this will take up to a minute, usually doesn't take that long. You can see the GPS searching icon has gone away. Okay, now it says it's success. It says connect the camera via Wi-Fi to see the live feed and adjust the camera view. Your REVEAL Pro 3.0 is now set up and ready to monitor. So see my cameras, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my account. I'm going to hit connect REVEAL Wi-Fi, hit continue, continue, enable permissions, and then it's going to connect to that Wi-Fi. Hit join on that Wi-Fi network. And then now what that's going to let me do, it's going to let me aim the camera, as you can see here. So I can aim it around, make sure that you put things within that red line where you think the animal's going to be. And then you can hit this gear icon up here at the top and you can change it. So you can change it to photo or pic plus video. If you're wanting to do on-demand video requests, you have to have it in pic plus video. I'm going to put it in pic plus video. And then image size, you can do 4K, Ultra HD, or you can do a 2.5K. And you can see it's got little about notes as you go through here. I'm going to leave it on 4K. And then when it comes to the video size, I'm going to change that to 1080p. Video length, you can do 10, 15, or 30 seconds. I'm going to put it to 10 seconds. And then night mode, minimum blur, balanced, or maximum. Battery power, I have a lithium cartridge put in there. I have the flash power on high. I don't want any delay. I don't want any work timer on there. Work timer, if you're going to be using these cameras, say on a construction site, during the day you got a lot of construction going on, people in and out, but on the nighttime you want to monitor it for theft. That's where the work timer would come into play. SD loop, I always leave that to on because I'm used to running SD cards. Not sure if it matters on the new one or not. Settings check, you have daily, instant, and hybrid. I always put mine all on instant. It's going to use a little bit more battery if you're doing that, but I put that on there because I can change the settings at any point in time. I can get instant on-demand video or photo requests with the X Pro, and then instant photo request with the X. Motion sensitivity, you can see it's got an adjusting scale. I always have left it on 7, haven't turned it down or up. And then send type, when settings check is set to instant, send type cannot be changed. This is when you're in a different mode. And then check-in picture, I always do a check-in picture because that's going to check in with you every 12 hours to let you know the camera's up to date. It's going to give you a battery status, make sure everything is good to go. So from there, I'm going to hit format SD card, make sure that the SD card is formatted successfully. Everything is good to go. You can see here you have the model, the firmware version, IMEI, which is your specific code to that camera. So that's the specific, kind of like a social security number for that camera. And then you have device info, and it gives you a little bit more info in there as well. This will be more for troubleshooting if you ever call into customer service. If there's anything that I left out or if you have any questions, please let me know. The X 3.0 is going to be very similar. You're going to have the QR code. The only difference is it doesn't have an LCD screen, so you don't have to worry about that. You can do everything through the app. On this X Pro, some things that you can do is you can toggle up and down, left and right, and you can get into some different settings on the camera itself. Everyone, I believe I have covered everything that I can think of on these cameras. There's probably a couple of things that I have left off. If that's the case, please comment it so people watching it and doing research behind you can see that. Within the app, I know there's a couple of things I didn't touch on. One thing is camera sharing. So if you have, maybe you've got these cameras on a gate for security, you can share these with other people who need to monitor that gate, or maybe some equipment that you're watching as well. Then you also have the ability to share those when they're out in the woods. If you and a buddy are hunting the same spot, you can share those cameras. All that person has to do is have the Tactacam app, and you get their email address that they register that app under, and then you're able to share whatever cameras, locations that you want to with them to be able to help them see what Tactacams are like. Or if you have somebody that's on the fence that's not sure if they want to buy a Tactacam, sharing's a really good way for them to kind of try it out and see if Tactacam's the direction that they would want to go. They don't have the ability to edit settings or features or touch anything that you wouldn't want to be touched, but they can see what's going on and what's coming by those cameras at any point in time. Another thing they have in the app is a shooter pass kind of game feature where you can collect points. I don't personally do that, so I don't know a lot about it. And then you have the statistics setting. So what I will do with statistics is I will categorize bucks, specific bucks that I'm after, maybe year to year, and I'll put them in a daylight folder and just an overall folder. And then I'll take that daylight folder from last year and see when they daylighted to try to help me predict for next season or for maybe within season. It's a really neat thing. You pair that with Spartan Forge, AI's technology and predicting deer movement. It's really neat to be able to do that as well. But if there's anything I missed, again, please let me know. That's everything that I have to say on the cameras. I hope you've liked watching today's episode. I hope it's provided value to you and helping you make a purchase decision, whether you want the X 3.0 or the Pro. 3.0. Thanks to Tactacam for coming out with a new product, listening to us on what needs to be improved, what needs to be changed, and making it better. If you have any questions, please, again, put those in the comments below. If there's something that I left out that's a feature that you like, please include those in the video as well. We want those to be down there in the comments so people can see those when they're coming to do research on these cameras as well. So anything you can do to help me, I greatly appreciate. But thank you again for watching today's episode, and we'll see you on the next one.